Hello, I'm Kurt Lidke, Executive Director of Klamath Film, and you just watched Ubermom, a likely too true to life for some viewers comical look at the life of a mom in our Southern Shorts category for the Klamath Independent Film Festival. Joining us now are the directors of this film, Kristan Kelly-Williams and Eve Smyth. Thank you both of you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So the obvious question that I'm sure the audience is asking right now is, was this film based on real life events or simply inspired by?
Definitely both. I definitely interviewed a bunch of families to our moms and some dads of what their life was like in a day, and of course, some personal experience since I am also an Uber mom. And then I worked with Eve to help on the improvised version because I didn't want it to be fully scripted. Our actress is actually an improviser, and so Eve is a professional improver. Did I
Cover. Yeah.
did I say that right?
Yeah.
So
So we had fun. As you noticed, the whole film is just shot from one point of view. And so Kristen and I were camped out in the back of the van, and I'm doing some acting coaching, and she's doing some camera coaching. And it was a long day in the back seat. I can kind of empathize with those children now.
And I was going to ask about the shooting style because filming it with just a single static camera, vignette style is an interesting choice stylistically. Had you originally planned maybe different angles at first, or was it always intended as like a fixed GoPro style one angle static shot throughout?
definitely planned as a one angle, one shot. I think I wanted it to be this fly on the wall, that typical traditional fly on the wall scene where we're just watching her. She doesn't know we're there. And yeah.
So
Just a little tiny side story. So at one point, Libby, our actress, she was trying to just get a little bit more air. So she moved she buzzed her window down, and the whole camera went.
Yeah, we had it mounted to the passenger side window. So
from a director's standpoint, having just one single solid angle that's never moving, it's interesting because normally, films have a lot of camera movement where you're physically moving the camera, but in this, you're physically moving the car almost like the entire film is a giant dolly. So it's all sort of one dolly shot with the camera static. How does that change the directing perspective from the typical films that you'd work on to where you're just using one singular angle?
that's a great question. I would say I almost envision it as a theatrical stage because now you have your fixed stage and everything's moving in the picture. And so it becomes a directing of what is the mom doing, what's happening outside, what's happening, when the kids get in and out of the car. We're looking at all those elements instead of, what's in the foreground, how do we dress the set.
Well, like I said, I was mostly doing sort of the acting coaching. And but also because I'm a stage director, I'm looking at, yeah, what's coming into the frame and how can we play with that and Kristen was great to collaborate with because we're looking at like those crosses when Libby's outside of the car and you just sort of see her going by and playing with that perspective.
There's a lot of comedy that can be found in reality, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate in many ways to this film. So, what do you hope that people get out of seeing Ubermom?
Empathy.
For sure. Definitely empathy. I agree with that, as well as I think recognition. It's a hard day, and I think a lot of people, when they identify themselves as a stay-at-home mom, even if they are working part-time, it's a hard job, and dads too. I mean, it was named Uber Mom because I have a mom in it, but truly any parent that is managing their children is a full-time job. And I've learned that on my own, and I think it's really important to give that comic relief and validation.
There's definitely a certain stigma that comes with that term of thinking that, oh, well, you just stay at home all day. And modern day society, the complete polar opposite is true. There's a million things to occupy your day, whether you're at an office or not. So how do you think your film kind of brings some levity to that conversation?
Ooh. Well, Libby brings levity. That's helpful. And I think all of the different scenarios that Kristen pulled together between, the rat and the groceries and the dog food and the swimsuit and just so many different elements that are just sort of compiled as our protagonist is trying to track all the lists and the phone calls. And it is, like you said, it's sort of there's a lot of opportunities for our kids these days, and they're not just taking their bike down the street or going to the neighbor's house. There's these events and activities and tasks that need to be done.
It's really a true ballet of navigating your day.
Ooh, that's the next one.
Right?
Mom ballet.
Actually, we thought of Uber Son because my son is now driving. So
That's a whole tear in of itself now.
Right.
So, so how many of the sequences were planned out exactly, and how much of it was just improvised based on whatever was happening, both inside and outside of the car, or with surrounding traffic?
the locations, I would say, were definitely planned. We wanted to have the specific idea of where we would shoot or what we would do, but then the dialogue became what was improvised. I would write out some kind of generic thing we would focus on, say dinner, what's for dinner, and then we kind of improvised with the rest of that.
Right, sort of off of the scenarios. And we had some beautiful gifts too, where Libby saw a deer, or she accidentally accelerated at the library drop off, or things that just
you gave away my favorite part.
Oh, this is after the movie though, right?
People just watched it, but so they know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Was this a single day shoot? And if so, how long of a day was that?
In the back of the car or long? Let's see. We started at 10.
Was it 10?
I think it was around 10. And
it was a single day.
It was meant to go until about 3, I think, or 4, and it went till about 6. Mm-hmm. So, as you know, things go over.
Which, we were working with children and pets. So that was a whole nother, element. Like we actually had a rat, and we actually had children who get hungry and tired, and so Kristan was an Ubermom while we were filming Ubermom.
Did you track mileage throughout? Do you have any idea of just how much driving you did?
Didn't you? I feel like you did.
I think
Libby did. I can't remember what it was.
Oh gosh,
it was a lot.
I'm sorry, I forgot. And I forgot to mention, we did this in the summer, actually about a year ago in July. So this month, last month. So it's been a year since we filmed it. And so we did it cranking the AC, hoping the car wouldn't overheat, and literally driving around all day.
Any behind the scenes hijinks or funny stories or memorable moments you can share about it? You did say that you almost lost your single camera in the middle of the shoot. Anything else to really stand out from Ubermom?
Well, that and the whole library drop-off.
Those
are kind of my favorites.
Hitting the curb a couple times.
Oh, yeah, right.
That was a little, it's my car, so.
It was a new car for Libby, so she was, getting oriented.
She was navigating. Mm-hmm. The library was definitely by far our favorite scene, I would say, because it was the most improvised, and yes, the acceleration was too funny. She literally stepped down to lean over into the books drop off, and
have we not all been there?
Yeah,
we have all been there, right? So
and her line about that was her exercise for the day, that just Eve and I were in the back seat cracking up with no sound. Like we were laughing quietly because we just couldn't believe that just happened, and we were dying,
and we knew it was a keeper.
Yeah, we couldn't do it. We couldn't laugh out loud. So.
Well, you say keeper, but inevitably in the course of editing, something always gets cut. So what were some of the things that did not make it into the final version of Ubermom that happened over the course of your shooting day?
The deer scene didn't stay. I was a little bummed about that, because that was really funny, especially pertaining to Ashland, and how we know everyone don't like the deer in Ashland. So
I love them.
Well,
some people love them. There was also, there was so many times where the swimsuit was getting thrown in Libby's face over and over again. Right. So that was a blast.
And the soccer ball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not too much else was cut.
Yeah.
We had to rearrange the dinner shopping list scenes a little bit in post editing because the audio was actually really bad in some of that, and so we ended up having to choose another version of it that I wasn't as happy with, but it worked because the audio was terrible sometimes. So
So there's a lot of familiarity in the story, not just for yourselves, but for everyone who has experienced a similar life of having to commute kids around everywhere and all of the other daily chores. But what sparked the original inspiration in writing Ubermom? Was there a specific incident that was like, okay, I have to film this?
yes, absolutely. A good friend of mine and I were meeting for coffee after dropping our kids off at school. And she walked in and sat down at the table and she said, "Oh my gosh, if I have to do any more of this, I think I'm going to scream." And I said, "Wouldn't that be a funny story to tell about what it's like to follow a mom? Because that would just, I think so many people would enjoy that and relate to it." And so Ubermom was born.
Have you two collaborated on other projects?
Not film.
Not film,
Yeah.
but we collaborate on a lot of things.
Maybe commiserate is the more appropriate term.
Well, I am the co-director of a children's theater, and Kristan does photos and
I'm a photographer by trade. Film is
and videotaping some
fun.
of our productions, and I feel like I don't know. We also talk about ideas a lot too.
yes.
Yes, I'm sure there's more in our future.
Are any of those ideas coming to fruition in future projects, or too soon to judge at this point?
We're working on a music video coming up here soon, so definitely something to share. We're excited about.
So the story of Ubermom, s- logistically, it's very simple, but there's a lot of depth to it in the relation of it. So, did you learn anything in the course of making Ubermom that you can apply to future projects?
Oh gosh, I need to think about that one for a minute. Do you think of anything?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is just that, it's probably good to move your body every once in a while, because when I had to unfold myself out of the back of that van at the end of the day, yeah, yeah. But
I would have liked to have it less scripted, honestly. I did do a lot of scripting, but I felt like the beauty and the magic of the film came out of letting an improviser be themselves. Libby was wonderful. She was so great to work with, and Eve did great walking her through each scene and keeping her focused and giving her good direction. And I just think to have it less scripted so she didn't feel like she was so trapped in those words that I wrote would have been what I would have done differently, maybe, and learned from. So.
You mentioned a theater background, and I can see how that applies to this. So, having something that is largely improvised, we've seen certain films thematically take that approach where it's more so setting the scene and then letting people's talents kind of flow. Um, any thoughts on perhaps other scenarios where you could implement that in kind of the same stylistic approach? Maybe this could be a whole episodic series of mom experiences, not just the car, but single shot for soccer Uber mom, or uh,
Maybe.
yeah, or like you were saying, Uber son.
Uber
yeah.
Son
Uber
could be
son.
like, oh my gosh, the day in the life of a 16-year-old driver. Or maybe I don't want to see that.
Another friend of mine actually asked if I would do COVID mom.
Yeah.
And that could be, the mom sitting at the dining table with her laptop trying to work, and the kids keep coming and going, and the pets and all that, and the husband and all that. Or
and the masks and the hand sanitizers and
right,
all the things. Yeah,
all
that's
the different
true.
things. So that was some fun thoughts we've been having lately about possible single scene. But those would change. Yeah, they would definitely have to be a different style.
Any final thoughts about Ubermom or things that you think people should know?
We hope you had a good time watching it. We had a fun time making it. Yeah, just drive safely out there.
Yes,
If
don't put makeup on and brush your hair and adjust while driving. No, I don't know. I think having, just enjoy it as it's as what it is. I think it's important to embrace these moments that sometimes stress us out.
That's good. That's a good message. Embrace the moments that sometimes stress us out. Yeah. And give yourself permission to feel overwhelmed because you probably are.
Well, this film definitely provides a nice little palate cleanser. It is filled with, shall we say, life lessons to apply on a daily basis in some form or another. So, thank you so much, both of you, for making yourselves available for this. And in addition to being able to see Ubermom all weekend long on demand via Eventive, people can also catch Ubermom in person at the Ross Raglan Theater here in Klamath Falls on Sunday, September 20th at 6:15 p.m. for the 8th annual Klamath Independent Film Festival. Thank you so much for making this very funny and very enjoyable film, and we're looking forward to the next one, whenever that may be.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
showing it.
you.